Welcome. This video is a recording of the live stream footage from the MATS event held on July 31 at Ninefold, San Francisco. Ninefold is proud to share this content with those that weren't able to join us on the night. The event welcomed the creator of Ruby, MATS, as well as the Japanese delegation from Fukuoka. Please join us to hear about mRuby, Ninefold, and what's coming next in the world of Ruby. We joined the footage with Warren Bain from Ninefold describing how a Ruby on Rails developer would leverage code and deploy code onto Ninefold.
We do all the things. So when you point us at your repository, these are all the things that we do automatically to make sure your Rails app comes up. So there's all the stuff that you would know about. We have custom pre and post migration scripts, so if there is anything that you need to do to promote a YAML file or something, we manage the concurrency for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I talk about performance. And then on the right hand side are all the other things that we do. You can bring your DNS, we have GTMs, so that we use geolocation of the originating IP address to decide which data center you're going to be sent to. If you have your app deployed into multiple data centers, which is another thing we do. We set up all the right caching and what have you. SSL certs, if you bring them, are free on our platform. Database backups, master-slave streaming replication is set up if you have multiple database servers. And in the unlikely event, or sad event, that you would have to promote one of those slaves, it's a one-click promotion managed by Ninefold. Performance. So we run on our own infrastructure, and that means we can make some selections around the kind of memory and CPU ratios that suit Rails apps or databases. And we've done that. Based on feedback from our customers, we've changed our offerings. Unlike, actually the point I probably didn't make here is that we don't totally abstract you away from the virtual machine. That's one of the differences between us and others. So you get your own server, it's on all the time, we never turn it off, it's available to service requests, you have your own virtual router, nobody else is sharing that, it supports load balancing, firewall rules. You don't have to know about any of that stuff, but if you want to go on the box and have a look, you can do that. You can use the CLI to run the Rails console on the box. We set up, we changed the garbage collection based on some of the best practice that we've read about, but you can override that. In fact, you can override any of the garbage collection settings or anything else that's available because we can set those before we run the Ruby environment. We work out the right process concurrency. We've done a lot of performance tests I'll talk about in a moment. And in that process, we worked out for a typical Rails app, what's the right kind of ratio between the number of processes that you can run on the number of virtual CPUs. Too many is too much context switching. What we basically do is work out how much memory is on the box. We subtract away the essential processes. From what's left, we look at how much memory your app is using, and we will then run the right number of processes, subject to not exceeding those sort of switching values. You can override them if you need to. And some of our customers, for example, have found that in the early stages of their development, they've got memory leaks, they don't have time to fix them, so we can actually adjust these numbers to give them a bit more headroom so their app will continue to run. It's not exploiting the full potential of the box, but it won't die from running out of memory. And we have linear scaling performance. You can scale these servers vertically by giving them more memory or processor. That's a thing you would probably do on the database server. On the web servers, it would be more likely that you would scale them horizontally by adding more. This is a graphic that comes from our website. There's much more information there. The short version is that we actually used a Spree commerce app, an external transaction testing service called Flood.io, which actually operates out of Melbourne. They're a really cool site. You can use JMeter Ruby to drive tests at large volumes, thousands and thousands of concurrent users if you want to. What we did was we set ourselves an AppDex on that application of 0.95. If you don't know what AppDex is, go to New Relic and have a look, but the short version is we're saying effectively that the satisfaction level of the customers based on their response times was set at a number, a high number. And we then threw a whole bunch of concurrent users at that application and scaled the number of servers and the size of the servers till we could hit that AppDex. So as soon as we were throwing more traffic at it, that it couldn't achieve it on a particular price point, then that was the lowest one. What this shows, this is basically the number of dollars to service the number of users. And what we see, this is the 9-fold line. So our tests showed that we are fairly linear. And in fact, if I was to draw a straight line up here, which used the same price performance of this low point, it would actually come up here. So as you're using more of the servers, you're actually getting a better cost benefit. This is another provider on there. Yeah, that is what it is. That other provider came out with a higher spec offering.
Which dyno did you use?
The first one was the 2x, and this is the, I'm sorry, I forgot what they're called.
PX.
The PX, thank you. So you can see a lot better performance out of the PX, but not quite the same scaling capability, and certainly not becoming better as more and more is thrown at it. Don't trust me on that stuff. All the testing and the methodology is in the public domain. If you want to, you can go and run that, and you can actually write tests for your own app and test what would your performance be. We've got some guides around all that. And the last thing I talk about is community. So we heard a little bit about that tonight. We sponsor and attend meetups, just like this sort of thing, but we go out to your meetups, wherever they happen to be, in the Valley and other places in the States as well. Dev Hub, Rails Girls General Assembly in the US and the AU, they're the sorts of events. The Rails Girls one's very interesting. It's about getting more women into IT and into the Rails world. We actually have a very high percentage of females in our own team. We host the Australian Ruby Gems Mirror, and we're at a ton of Ruby conferences. There's a few examples, and come find us for the t-shirt and talk to us. I'm not going to take any questions now because I don't want to get between you guys and Matt's, but if you do have any questions about anything, please grab me after the event. We'll have a beer and have a chat and talk to anyone with a 9-fold t-shirt on. Thank you.